Girls of Reddit, what is the hardest thing to explain to a males? That having a C-section isn't the easy way out of giving birth. Sometimes it's life-saving to the mom and baby, and comments like that fuel postpartum depression. My wife and I have 3 kids. 2 were natural births and the youngest was an emergency C-section. In her words, a C-section was the easiest birth, but the absolute hardest recovery. There's no easy way to give birth. C-section sounds just as difficult or even more difficult. My aunt described her experience with a C-section, and I was shocked. She said she saw them put her organs on the table to get the baby out. I couldn't imagine. She also described her natural birth to me as well, and I was just, how do you do it? I'm terrified of having a baby now lol. We don't know how to raise/take care of children. We try hard and learn as we go, and sometimes we get it wrong. If we can try, so can you. Also that no, not all of us want to be mothers. As a first-time father to a 9-month-old daughter, it's actually embarrassing how effing low the bar is to be considered a good dad. For example, I work 3 o'clock to 11:30 from home. My wife works from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock not at home, and is usually home by 3:15. As a result of our genuinely extremely lucky schedule, I watch my daughter all day every day until she gets home. I feed her, clean her, make sure she's safe. You know, all the shitty parent should be expected to do. For 6 months now, since my wife went back to work, nearly every time I go to the grocery store, obviously with my daughter, a stranger makes a comment along the lines of, "Is daddy giving mommy a break today?" And I know it's not meant with ill will, but it so badly makes me want to just yell that I'm just being a refine parent. I also have friends/relatives that ask why we don't send her to daycare while mom works. Maybe because I'm an able-bodied person that can take care of my own daughter alone. Not to mention we save a ton on daycare costs. I've had numerous men say like, "I just couldn't handle that every day." But why the F not? Why do dads just have a built-in excuse to be absent? The bar is so ridiculously low. My brother is a lot like you here. He works nights, so during the day he does the parent stuff. When my sister-in-law went back to work after having a baby, she was having very minor and temporary incontinence issues and wet herself at work. She called my brother, and he showed up to her work with the baby and a fresh pair of pants. All her coworkers praised him endlessly, and yeah, it was a really nice thing to do. But my brother was so disappointed when he told me about this. He said, "Do their husbands just not treat them right?" Obviously I brought her some pants. I love her, and she peed herself. How devastating a miscarriage is. I agree, but it isn't just men that don't understand. When I lost my first pregnancy, my mom came over, hugged me and said she didn't understand what I was going through. Then she left. It felt like, because no one could see physical marks on me like in a car accident, I must be fine, and everyone just wanted to move on. No one would talk with me about it. I was angry at the world for moving on and acting like nothing happened. When I was left emotionally and mentally scarred. A miscarriage is incredibly painful, not just physically but emotionally and mentally. Every year I have to go in for my yearly gynecologist appointment, and every year I have to answer the same questions. How many pregnancies? Of those, how many went to term? Etc. It hurts my heart to answer these same questions every year. It hurts to see that due date roll by. You think how old they would be. What would your family be like if your child was there? The stigma women have to carry for losing their baby. The fear it will happen again. You're not good enough to be a mom. You can't carry a baby to term, so you must not be good enough for your spouse. It goes on and on. I remember when I finally came around to trying to have another baby, went in for my doctor appointment with my spouse. I asked the doctor about what tests we would have to take to make sure we were healthy to try again. She looked at my spouse and asked if he was the father of the baby that we lost, and he said yes. She said he doesn't need any tests. He got you pregnant before, so it isn't his sperm. A woman doctor said that to another woman. No wonder why women carry this pain. The emotional pain never goes away. I'm sorry for you and everyone who has lost a baby. To those who grieve the loss of a baby, your feelings are valid. You are not to blame, and you are strong. Yeah, it's unfortunate that nobody really looks into it until it happens more than once. I had a miscarriage, actually missed so I had to go in for a D&C. They supposedly collected a sample for testing, but I never heard anything about any results. I still have no idea what might have gone wrong that first pregnancy, but now I go to this office and they sometimes give me to NPs instead of my actual doctor, and every time it's a new person. It's "and this is your third pregnancy." Yes, but I only have one baby at home. The prolonged and sometimes agonizing cramps that we get when we are on our period. My brother calls me a drama queen for fainting a few times, struggling to breathe, getting lightheaded, and then I found a YouTube video of boys simulating that same cramping sensation and all of them came out, if saying that they never knew it was that bad. I sent him the link, but I'm almost positive that he didn't watch it. Here is the video, if anyone is interested. As a dude, I've never understood why people don't take cramps more seriously. Like, I wake up with a Charlie horse in my leg every once in a while, and it takes me like 5 seconds to get rid of it, but those 5 seconds suck. Major. Then I imagine cramps like that, but I can't make them go away, and they're in or near my balls. So I don't know what it's like, but I have enough of the pieces to put together that it's not fun. Just because I'm being nice to a male person doesn't mean I wanna stick my tongue in his mouth. Some people are just cool. It's their personality trait. And no, I do not need you to explain me everything. I can think by myself. If I had any problem I would look it up on Google. Thank you. And for people asking about the green light and differing between friendliness and genuine interesting, the sign I use is asking too many questions and staring too much. It is in fact hard to tell between the two cases. I recommend using a clear communication if you, girl, is interested in someone. Something like I'm interesting in having something more than a friendship. Ask them on a date. Buy something out of nowhere, etc. A date idea that always give a romantic vibe is cinema or a coffee shop date. The key is making the person see the difference of treatment. But that doesn't mean you should be around with everyone else and be cute only with that one person. Be nice to everyone. I know it's really confusing. In action is way more clear. User who said, "Let me explain why you want to kiss me, DM me." That I can't hold a period when a man doesn't understand periods and makes fun of me for it. 90% of the time it's because they don't understand the difference between pissing and bleeding. There are men in this world so sheltered that they don't know that women don't piss out of their vagina. Sure, it's all in the same general area, but I don't piss out of my vagina. A female urethra is separate from the vagina, and obviously this is related to some different muscles which makes me able to hold my urine. I can't do this with blood. I can't make my vagina not gush blood. I can't hold it unless I squeeze my legs together as hard as possible and waddle to the bathroom. If I'm bleeding, it's not stopping unless I put a tampon in. And I've never been able to comfortably put in a tampon. I've been trying for years. All different types and all different brands. It's the most uncomfortable thing for me. So I'm left with having to maybe sort of control how much gushes out of me by wearing a pad. So F you to the men that think putting in a tampon is like F-ing yourself with a dildo, because that's not even remotely true. I've actually had a guy friend ask a question like this once. Also, if you're a guy that gets uncomfortable and tries to force women to change the subject when they are talking amongst themselves, or other men that aren't squeamish on the subject, not even trying to force the conversation on you about their periods, you're not a man. And never will be. You sound pathetic when you try to tell women not to talk about a natural bodily function of theirs. You sound like a coward. And you also sound like you couldn't hold your own in a sword fight. I'm used to seeing blood. You're not. I can tell you which one of us will cower while the other triumphs if the time ever comes. Seriously guys, learning how a period works isn't that hard. If your parents and older siblings really sheltered you that bad, look it up. If you're reading this, you clearly have some access to the internet.